Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz, and Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett is with us. Professor, we'll start with you. Why is Harvard, with a $53 billion endowment, why are they getting $4.4 billion in a short number of years from American taxpayers? Why isn't that money going to community colleges? Why isn't that going to trade schools? Why isn't that going to places that don't have that kind of endowment money?
Well, some of it certainly should. Harvard should not have funding cut off for cancer research or heart attack research. Harvard does a very good job, so we need to have targeted
why don't we go
funding.
to? Wait a minute, but why? Why don't we go to the Mayo Clinic? Why don't we go to the Cleveland Clinic and
that would be fine. That
NYU
would be fine.
Langone and Sloan's Kettering, et cetera, and MD Anderson? Why don't we go there? Why does Harvard get it? When especially they've institutionalized virulent anti-Semitism.
Well, let me tell you about anti-Semitism. The two killings in Washington, D.C., I actually predicted them. I have a new book out called The Preventive State. And in my new book, I predicted that what was going on at Harvard, these violent demonstrations, would lead to shootings. How did I predict it? Based on having represented in the past people who have been protesting violently during the Vietnam War and what became of them. One of them became a murderer, Kathy Boudin, the Weathermen. And so I predicted that this was going to happen. Harvard not only tolerates anti-Semitism, but two of its schools, the Divinity School and the Public Health School, actually teach anti-Semitism and encourage anti-Semitism. Recently, the Divinity School appointed as its speaker or as its marshal, its class marshal, a man who had been charged with harassing students, Jewish students. The same thing is true of the Harvard Law School. It just gave a $65,000 bonus scholarship to one of the people who had harassed Jewish students in order to allow him to continue his anti-Israel advocacy. And so Harvard is more than just tolerated anti-Semitism. In some of its schools, in some of its programs, like the program on human rights, it has actually taught and encouraged anti-Semitism. So targeted defunding is a very good idea and a good way of responding to this horrible anti-Semitism that's spreading all over the country. But Harvard is the most important institution in the country. And so start there and teach them that they cannot use federal funds to promote anti-Semitism.
And Gregg, they want to challenge this in court, and I think there are certain things that we have to put on the table. The largest military base we have in the Gulf states, in Qatar, nobody ever questioned the fact that the Qataris gave $8 billion. They spent $8 billion on our military base because they need that relationship to protect their country. But they did question when they gave the president or the Defense Department a plane, which I think is quite hypocritical considering the financial difference. And, you know, let's challenge the notion that all these foreign students get to come into this country and not be vetted. I think everybody needs to be vetted that comes into our country. Do they align their values with radicalism? I'd like to know that before they get here.
Right.
Well, I think it's important to read Harvard's own task force. They issued a scathing report that the university deliberately allowed this virulent anti-Semitism to run rampant on campus. They did little or nothing to protect Jewish students who were targeted, harassed, as the professor points out, in some cases assaulted. It's on videotape. There's also evidence, as you say, that Harvard continues its race discrimination in admission and hiring. All of that, Sean, violates the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So the penalty is a loss of federal funding. Good. Harvard should blame itself, not Trump, because they created this hostile, unsafe environment for Jewish students. It's vile, it's shameful. Harvard condoned it. And some of those pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian offenders, they were foreign students that Harvard happily invited in. Go ahead, do what you want. So Trump's DHS is legally justified revoking its certification to host those students. I agree with what you said at the top of the program with the press secretary. I have never understood why a university with a rich endowment of $53 billion and pays no taxes receives billions of dollars every year from hardworking American taxpayers, many of whom never got the chance or privilege to go to college. Explain to them why their precious funds are funding anti-Semitism and racism.
Right.
I bet you I know their answer.
And Harvard.
Okay. We got to
Harvard will
run.
lose its lawsuits, too. They're getting bad advice from their lawyers. They're not going to win these lawsuits when it comes to the Supreme Court.
I agree.
You know, I don't think you're entitled to one taxpayer dollar, period. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.